What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach Booker, in the building, man. We live once again on the Line Sports Media, man. And another long day, man. Another long day of sports, man. Middle school sports tonight. Had a lot of middle school basketball games tonight. But tonight, man, we're gonna bring on a special guest, man. I got a couple guys with me, man. I'm gonna bring them guys on the stage real quick. You got your man, Coach Clark. Oh, well, I see Coach Clark's towel. Maybe he had a little bathroom break. We're gonna talk this little bathroom break. And then I got my man, it's a bird. It's a plane. No,
Yes,
it's my
sir.
man. It's a hawk in the building. Yeah.
My
Coach
brother.
Clark. Coach Clark, no worries. I introduced your towel. Since you yeah.
I'm sure
We
that
got
was
the
a
sweat off your
splendid
towel.
experience.
We got the sweat off your towel, man. And
Appreciate you,
then
Breeze.
And then we got a special guest in the house, man. Gonna chop it up with us for a few minutes, man. We ain't gonna keep him long, man. I mean, you see his face on the screen, so it ain't like he's somebody that we don't know. You know what I mean? Is Coach Jonathan Simmons of Palisades, right? He's a graduate of Josh C. Smith, class of 2007. Should I told him that? Man, I'm telling you age. I'm sorry. He was a former assistant of Huff High School, Julius Chambers, Hopewell, Berry Academy. He got experience as special teams coordinator. He coached the wide receivers, DB man, just an all-around coach, man. But now the head guy at Palisades High School, man. But Coach Jonathan Simmons, what's up, man?
I appreciate you guys having me. I'm excited. First and wonderful thing about what you guys are doing with the platform. So I'm just happy to be a guest.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We glad you decided to just give us a little bit of your time, man. Cause is it ever an off season for football? Is this the off season for you, or is it never a off season?
And you take time off if you want to. You won't be happy from off.
You're right about that.
Ain't never really
You're
no
right
off,
about that.
never really no off season.
Really, no off season, huh? So what's a
But
no? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but in between, grades, making sure guys are academically sound, recruiting, making sure guys live, participate in second sports. I mean, nonstop. No, it's never.
Great. But let's talk about last season, man, because Palisade is relatively, to me, a new school. You've been around for how many years?
This is our third. This was our third season, third school year.
Third season. Absolutely incredible. The accomplishments that you guys had this season, man. Just in your third season in existence. And I know it. You got to give you your flowers for doing what you've done. You
Hmm.
went over and took over a program, man, and now you got to deal with Palisades now. You know, it ain't just the new guys on the block now. It's the guys that might knock you off the block,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the work that you put in and into last season and the work you put in with your guys and your coaching staff. I'm getting a lot of feedback on this thing. But tell us a little bit about, your mindset going into last season.
Well, I knew we were a talented bunch uh, because we returned so much experienced talent. Going back to our first year, I mean, we only had a junior. Um, so we played a majority of freshmen and sophomore going back to our first year in 2022. So we knew we had that we were going to grow with over the next couple of seasons. Um, like I said, going into last spring, we had a good core returning, and then we got some great talent, to come in. Josh A. Brown, Phillip Berry, Chief Toasty from Olympic, and others. So really, it was about just getting them organized, prioritized, sure everybody understood their role because everybody had a role to play. Um, and then we just kind of tried to just keep that going. Then we got into the fall. Got a couple injuries, a couple season-ending injuries. So we just had to kind of do some small recalibration, moving a piece here, moving a piece there, making some adjustments to our overall plan. And then we did get to a pivotal moment in our season where we played Clover, definitely did not go our way, and we sat down as a program and identified what our core issues were. And we kind of fell in love with what's known as the Patriot Way. The Patriot Way was created by Bill Belichick, and it's called "Do Your Job."
Mhm.
And we just
Okay.
kind of did the Patriot Way,
Right.
aka Palisades Way, and we constantly just asked the
Right.
kids to do their job. So it created some success for us. We just rode with it, as long as we could. That was really it. In the off season, like I said, my staff and I, we just prioritized whatever we ran offensively and defensively, made sure we put our kids in a situation to be successful. We didn't fall in love with we fell in love with making our players good players or great players. And that was it.
Sounds like a great plan you put together, and it worked for you.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
So now in the off season, how do you attack the off season now that you well, not the off season, but you know, the season that you're in right now.
Um, Again, give our guys honest feedback. We did some type of exit meeting with all our guys so we could kind of get some understanding of how they felt about the 2020 season. We wanted to understand how they felt about their and what we could then do to improve their role and improve them as players. So now my is to kind of take that, use that to build out our off-season plan. So everything from football class, football school, um, to speed training and development, to nutrition. I mean, anything we could think of to kind of help develop guys. Um, and again, just bring them together and make sure they do their job. Now, as a staff, we'll get together here in the next few weeks. We'll start trying to figure out, you know, did we run something that we'll run again this year? Because again, we're in love with our Jimmy's and O's, and that's really it. So we might look a little different than we did last year, all because we just want to capitalize on this current group of talent that we have.
Oh, that's what's up. So how involved do you get in the recruiting process with your guys, with your kids? How do you approach that? What kind of conversation do you have with those kids? Including because the big thing for these high school kids is trying to position themselves to get offers, right?
Mhm.
What and get recruited and how do you have that conversation with a young freshman coming in and even some of your senior guys on the recruiting process and what it takes to get recruited, how to qualify, how to disqualify yourself from being recruited. Do you have that conversation or do you have somebody that may be on staff as a recruiting coordinator or something?
Man, Chris Hawk is a one in a million, man. So if Chris Hawk got a brother out there, a cousin, we'll hire him. Chris Hawk is so no, no, we don't have a Chris Hawk. So I got to kind of head it up. I'm a PE teacher, so I got a little bit of flexibility throughout the school day when coaches come in to kind of work with the coaches on the behalf of our players. So it really is me handling it. As far as kind of again, getting our guys to understand where they fit, where we can get them to go, what they need to look like academically, we try to have those conversations as a program.
Right.
We I have those conversations with parents in a general sense, right? But again, it will hit home. You know what I mean? So I'll say out loud, listen, there ain't if you look around college football, there ain't a lot of 5'9" guys, right? Division 1. But
Mhm.
there is special. All right. So we gotta have those conversations so that way people don't feel like you're not trying to help their child or discourage
Right.
them. We're just saying, hey, you're gonna be 5'9", you better be special. Right?
Right.
Mm.
Mhm.
The work ethic
I,
better be questioned. So it's just about having those truthful, transparent conversations without trying to tear our kids. I'll never tell them what they can't, but I will tell them what they have to do to get what they want. So that's
Right.
really, um, and then I, now portal, man, I keep trying to preach. It's a great opportunity. Um, because again, everybody is equal in a sense. Once you get to college football, you play, you make plays, you become a playmaker. You got the opportunity to transfer up, right?
Yep.
So you are equal to the 5-star, right? You become equal to the 4-star as long as you go play and develop. If you don't, I mean, well, then you kind of, just have to be where you're at, be where your feet are. But if you go and you really grind into it and you become a ball player, the sky's the limit. You see guys going from Division twos to playing for Ohio State, Georgia. So I
That's
don't, you
right.
know what I mean? So it's just about kind of getting their mind to not be in love with having to land big right away.
Right.
Again, love football, love the game, process, go after it.
Coach, this is Coach Clark. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, Coach. I know you guys are relative. First of all, thanks for joining our show, man, and we appreciate you. Being a new program, it's one thing to get the kids to buy into your message, your program, your philosophy. What have you done to engage the parents and the community and get them to believe in your program?
Man, just truthful. Every time we do our parent meeting, I just constantly stress what they're going to see from the coaching staff, right? So I don't want them to ever feel like we're lying to them. I know I'm not 1,000% in that. I know there's going to be some misses in that. People are going to feel how they still want to feel. But for the most part, I try to deliver on everything I said we were going to do. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, tell the parents, listen, we're going to use colorful language, right?
It's high school football.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want your baby to come home and say, "Hey, man, coach, was fussing at me," right?
Right.
And you colorful language, and coach, you never said that. Nah, we gonna tell you. You know what I mean? So we try to be as truthful with them, good or bad, because we want their support. We want them to support their kid,
Mm-hmm.
and we want them to understand that we have their kids' interest best at heart in terms of raising them and making them better men. But at the same time, we are human as well, and we may make mistakes. We do. We take ownership and we try to move together on the behalf of the kids. So I'm just honest and transparent. I just tell them how it is, and some people love me for it. Some people maybe not so much, but at least they know where I stand.
Right. And just one more question on the back end of that. You kind of touched on it, but how important and what was your process of putting your staff together and understanding your philosophy and compared to their backgrounds? So what was that process like? Did you meet with each individual coach and do you have a relationship with them prior, or just how did that come together?
A core group of them. So I have a few coaches that started with me from day one. They've been here since, I mean, literally since the first time we pulled helmets out of boxes.
Okay.
So those are guys that I have relationships with prior. One of them's even one of my college classmates. So we attended John C. Smith together. Um, and everybody else kind of picked up along the way. My biggest thing in staff members and hiring guys is who just has a growth mindset.
Mm,
Because we're men. We take this seriously. High school coaches don't get paid nearly enough for what we do. So we really take pride in it because this is our passion, right? We don't got a big
right.
check, right? So with that being said, I want guys that sometimes aren't only in love with what they know, right? Because sometimes you're a victim of only what you know, right? You got to be willing to kind of expand and grow in different areas. And that's kind of been my goal is just to constantly, so every year we might have a small amount of turnover, but for the most part, my the large majority of my staff carries over from year to year, and those are the guys I truly trust in terms of growth potential and growing and wanting to grow with our program. So that's kind of been our recipe as far as staff members.
Awesome. Appreciate you.
Wonderful.
Sir.
Hey, so you get a stat,
Hey,
you get
Coach
a
Simmons.
you
Oh,
go
I'll
ahead,
go ahead,
man.
Booker. Hey, Coach Simmons, you awful, very humble coach. I've been knowing you for a long time,
Yes,
and
sir.
you actually, if you ain't the best special team coach in North Carolina, you got to be the top two. And your special team, I mean, your speed training is second to none.
Mhm.
I encourage you parents, if you listen and need speed training, that man right here will get you right.
Oh, I know. I think
Oh, Booker,
I
yeah.
think
Oh,
his
yeah.
I think my kid had a relationship with him out there too. Yeah.
Nah,
Hmm.
man. I hate it. Listen, I loved your son 4 times out of the year. I didn't like him, right?
Yeah.
So here's I'm not a fan of his, but I wanted to say congrats to you and him because he's a prime example of that portal journey we talking about. You know, that
Absolutely.
about
Yes.
the and I think we're not. I think high school coaches in Charlotte and maybe just around the country need to do a better job of promoting that kids are finding landing spots, taking off, and then moving into bigger and better opportunities as their college career moves forward. So Zion, again, if I don't know how often you've talked about him, but Zion under recruited, went to Western Carolina, and then now he's at Tulsa. And I'm pretty sure he'll have a great season or two at Tulsa. And then, it's only hell, he could be at the University of Michigan in a year or two. So again, I hope to all the parents and kids out there that are watching, listen, don't let what's not happening for you right now be your stopping agent. Just keep grinding and pushing it. And again, love football because it'll take care of you. So
Yeah, the journey. Thanks for that, Coach. And Zion, I think Zion just is a product of the old school mentality. It's kind of like the village. The village raising the child.
yeah,
You
Hmm.
know, he's been hands on with a lot of men, like some qualified guys, right? And I don't think he's ever gone outside of that box. If I'm not with him, he's somewhere, training with you, training with some other guys, Coach G. I can name a few, Coach Clark, or having conversations with Coach Hawk, and and you guys have impacted, him in a way that has guided him to where he is now. So, of course, I'm his dad. He got all his athleticism from me.
that's
So, of course, yeah. So, but he's part of the bit. You guys were part of the village, man, that touched the kids. So I appreciate that. Appreciate that work that you guys have put in. But that transfer portal, let's talk about that. So, what's your feelings on the transfer portal? It's how many Coach Philando probably can tell me. It's 11,000 kids in the transfer portal currently. How does that happen? Are these kids, do you feel like these kids are getting educated enough, or they just jumping in deep waters, man, and just don't know how to navigate, don't know how to swim, and just don't know how to get out of there, man? What do you think about the whole transfer portal thing?
I think it's exactly what you said. A lot of kids don't have OGs, man. They don't got solid enough OGs that are kind of being realistic with them. You got guys like I'll talk to college coaches and they saying a developmental guy who never even got time hopping in the portal. You know what I mean? Which is a dangerous move. And then you got guys um, rushed for 1,400 yards, hopped in the portal, and they're kind of giving him the graces to move on. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and you just got guys that are a little bit more informed. Maybe didn't go in with a bit of a realistic view that they just got to work a little bit. You know what I mean? Get into the starting lineup, make plays. You know what I mean? Really dominate, be all conference, be all American, and then opportunities will come find you. Somebody will come tell you to come hop in the portal. You know what I mean? Um, and again, it's still a risk. You know what I mean? So you could, because I've heard stories about kids being told to hop in the portal because a coach said they're gonna come get them, and then he never comes. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It's definitely a risk altogether. I don't personally feel no way about it, right? Because it's people betting on themselves, and I always believe that's a big time virtue everybody's got to have. You got to be willing to take just a little bit of risk sometime in life to get what you want. So I'm okay with it. Now, does it hurt high school recruiting? Yes, because now colleges don't want to take developmental high school players anymore, right? If the kid is not ready to kind of contribute nearly day one, it's going to be hard for them. You know what I mean? And it has
Absolutely.
effect. So, um, but as far as me, I'm trying to prepare my kids as much as possible for that. So that way we're not discouraged. We can kind of move forward and really, just pursue the opportunity as fits. Um, Again, just depends on how people are preparing young people for it. Some people cry about it. Some people Just say, hey, use it how it's currently set up. So I'm on the hey, let's use it how it's currently set up. Right. We just
Right.
need opportunity and then go from there.
Yeah, man. I think I probably stressed out more. I probably stressed out more than Zion did
Yeah.
at once he jumped in the portal, man. I mean, we had some pretty intense conversations about him jumping in the portal. Um, do I think you did enough? You know, did you have a good enough season for someone? I mean, I felt like he should have had some conversations with some coaches prior to going to the portal, uh, some potential offers. I think he went in. He was a little bit under recruited going into the portal, but once he got in there, he took some visits, and he ended up getting he ended up getting quite a few offers. Quite a few offers. He had some options, and like you said earlier, Coach, it's kids betting on themselves, right? It's kids betting on themselves, so I supported it 100%. We pushed it, of course. But some of these kids, you got 11,000 kids sitting in the portal, and they just sitting there. So I think these guys are definitely somebody needs to have some real conversations with some of
I
these guys
I tell
prior
you,
to.
I tell you this another great story about a kid out of Charlotte, Julius Chambers. Right. His name is Jay Sons. He never played football at Chambers. He only played basketball. He
Mm-hmm.
walked
Who is
walked
it?
on. He walked on to a college. I forget the school up in New York. He's now at University of North Texas on
Yep.
scholarship. That
Wow.
right there is how the portal can help kids
Yes.
if you got the right mindset. He never played it down. When I was at Chambers from 2016 to 2018, I begged this kid to play football. Begged him. And he always just said, nah, coach, I'm a basketball player.
Right.
He finally did it, play a little JUCO ball. Then he went to play for a FCS school up in New York, and now he's at University of North Texas. You can't tell me that this portal can't help you just as much as it hurts you, right? You
Absolutely.
about how you approach it, your mindset. And again, everybody doesn't know these stories, but these stories are real. There's a kid that was at a Olympic high school, Torricelli Simpkins, started off at Carolina Central, started 2 years at center for University of South Carolina. Now he's going to the NFL Draft Combine. Can't
Wow.
tell me it's
Mm.
not real. Can't tell me it's not real. Just people just got to stop having this negative mindset and complaining. Go to work, right? Go to work. Love the game. Go to work. But again, just depends on who they OGs are. If they my youngin, we gonna have that go to work mindset.
Right.
Gotcha.
Get
Absolutely.
that.
Coach, what kind of conversations are you having with these guys about transfer portal? Because we know it's a lot harder these days for these guys to get offers, especially the Power Five, uh, you know, FBS. All these things are difficult now because of the transfer portal. Are you letting them know that other options as far as like track ball, a little bit more, JUCO route? What are those conversations like?
Well, I think I want to highlight on the JUCO just because I know that's kind of been a hot topic. I think people are a little bit misinformed. You had the Vanderbilt quarterback who filed a lawsuit to get back his years of eligibility from being in JUCO because he lost out on NIL opportunities.
Right.
He, as
Mm,
far as I know, has been the only one to win that lawsuit. No other JUCO player has won it yet because it hasn't gone into legislation. So you have
hmm
quite a few, and I don't even think it currently applies to anybody that would try to go into JUCO currently. So if a current high school senior decides to go to JUCO route, he's not guaranteed to get back his years of eligibility. So I think
hmm
be mindful of knowing the true rules legislation before we start preaching, hey, let's go JUCO.
mm
North Carolina only has one JUCO. South Carolina doesn't have a JUCO at all. So there's really no JUCOs nearby. Most kids will have to go down into the Mississippi, um, Texas, Kansas,
Kansas.
uh,
Mm.
you know, I don't know. I don't, I think it's personal to each kid if they can handle the JUCO journey because it's getting tougher.
It's a grind.
It's a whole different environment. Um, so I don't know. I don't preach it because sometimes I base it off the kid I know. Now prep schools are different because prep schools, there's prep schools in North Carolina, there's prep schools in South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia. So I think prep schools is a much more unique route or easier route because it's only 1 year. Usually it's only a semester. Um,
Right.
you and then after that, if the prep school does what they're supposed to do, player does what he's supposed to do, they're on to their new school within again a semester. So I would preach prep school because you don't lose any years of eligibility as
Right.
well. So that would just kind of be my thing versus JUCO. Like I said, as far as the portal goes, I'm just always going to stress guys get an opportunity because you can pretty much prep school at a Division II school now. You can prep school at a D3. You're still going to use years of eligibility, but college coaches want to see production. They want to see tape. So you really just need to go and play. You don't need
Right.
to have 4 years, 4 years of great tape. You just need a year or two.
That's
Um,
right.
and I got our first senior class was class of 24, and I had a safety that went to North Carolina Central. I feel like he's under recruited, but at the same time, I'm telling him, and in Central, if anybody's been paying attention, Central's been sending kids into the portal and moving up tremendously in the last few years. They send out more
Absolutely.
every year.
Yeah.
Another kid from Charlotte, Jamari Taylor, went to West Met. He's at University of Virginia, right? A couple years ago, they had a kid, Jason Corner. I forget his last name. Played at Butler, right? Played at Huff. Played at Butler. Jason played at Huff. Played at Butler. He went to Central. Then went to App State, and now he's moved up to another big school, West Virginia. So again, I'm never not going to preach the fact that you can't make it work for you, right? You can go JUCO, you can go prep, you could go to a regular D2, D1 AA. It don't matter, right? The path don't matter. It's just about if you want to embrace the path. That's all.
Coach Tony C joined us. What's up? What's up, Coach?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going
Ain't
on?
too much, man.
What up, Tony?
So, Coach, we talk about the NIL. What's your what's your take on what's going on with? Because a lot of these guys are transferring um, because of NIL opportunities or what they think may be a good NIL opportunity. What's your take on these kids? Because to me, we kind of losing the passion for the game while we play the game. And do you love the game, or do you just take an opportunity to possibly get a big payday, basically, for some of these kids?
Man, it's hard to sit on the couch and say what I would do if somebody offered me 100K, 200K. You know what I mean? To go do something. You know what I mean? Do something I do anyway, right? So if I'm playing football anyway, I played 16 years for free, and now you telling me I can get $250,000 in a Bentley truck? Then I don't know, man. You know what I mean? At that point in time, loyalty is going to be tested. And so it's hard for the kid because that's how a lot of conversations are being led. A lot of conversations are being led with, "Hey, this is what we can do for you." And this is what we can provide you and your family. And I guess it depends on the family and their struggle. You know what I mean? If I'm watching my mom work two jobs to take care of me and my siblings, and I can get 200K and send her 50 so she can let one job go, I don't see why not. You know what I mean? But again, the other side of it is understanding that you got to pay taxes, you got to pay an agent, and so forth. That a lot of people aren't keeping in mind. So that 200 might not be a full 200, but hell, 120 better than nothing. You know what I mean? So um, I don't know. You can't get me to really. I can't give you a definitive answer because that's just hard with not being in that situation. Because hell, I'm a high school coach. I love being at Palisades. I wouldn't leave. Coach of high school football on CMS and most of the high schools is nearly the same. So I can't say I would leave Palisades to go to another school, but if somebody offered me 120K to go coach high school ball, hey, I'm gonna tell y'all, hey, I'll see y'all later. I got a game in NFHS. A lot of that loyalty would go out the window. So it's just tough, man. It's just tough. So I couldn't tell you, really couldn't, till I get in that situation.
Let me ask you about one of your former schools that you went to. They finally got their coach,
Okay.
um, Coach Coach Mullen at Chambers. What do you think about that hire?
Man, I think it's tremendous for those kids. You know what I mean? Just kind of hearing a little bit about his story. Um, he's a prime example. Again, he could say, "Listen, I'm not the prototype. I'm not the 6 foot, corner. Um, I don't know what high school he played for, but I'm not the 6 foot corner that everybody says they have to have and has to be, the prototype to make it to the next level. I'm undersized. I just had some real grit to me, some toughness. I loved what I do. I loved the ball, and I was able to take care of my family behind it. So I think that's a great message to the kids at Chambers because some of those kids do have some rough upbringing. Some of those kids are you know just need some type of inspiration. So I think it's great to have someone who's been through that type of mud. You know what I mean? The mud boys, I think they need that. So that would be great for them to kind of have that person for them every single day.
Hey, Coach Sims, I got a question for you.
So,
When the guys told me you were coming on today, I was just thinking about I've seen you do work in the city, whether it be girls basketball. Can you?
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, girls basketball, boys football. Going from being an assistant to a head coach, bringing in a new program and getting them their first true winning seasons. One thing that I've seen is you're a no nonsense coach, right?
Hmm.
How do you find that balance with being that type of coach and still, having a bond with your kids where you're not in a position where you're worried about, kids leaving or transferring and things like that? Like, how do
Uh,
you find that balance?
Messaging, you know what I mean? Just constantly providing a message of, hey, I care about you. You know what I mean? I care about you. I want you to grow. My biggest thing, is, can we make you a better person while you're here? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna let you, if we're talking about a Friday night, yeah, we're gonna let you, stand up at the 50 and yell, and but when we walk off that field, we want people to, be respectful to us. We want people to, speak highly of us. So we gotta, show ourselves a little bit better. You know what I mean? So I try to get them to understand the difference between when they're within the lines and outside the lines, and why it's different for me as well. You know what I mean? When they're outside the lines, hey, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, I'm your biggest fan, right? But if you sometimes, you're not on the right path, you hanging with the wrong people, well, I'm gonna tell you, right? I'm not gonna be shady towards you. I'm not gonna, speak behind your back. I'm gonna come directly to you and say, hey, man, you slipping, you tripping right now. You know what I mean? You're better than that. You know what I mean? You have better value than that. Um, and I think it works. Like we had our team banquet last night, and I gave a coaches awards to two guys again, kind of were on the path, hanging with the wrong individuals, making poor decisions, and they've made a tremendous, as members of our program, and that's something that I'm truly the proudest of the most. You know what I mean? I'm probably ain't never gonna win a state championship, and I'm okay with that. But if I can make greater people, then that's what it's really all about anyway. So that's kind of what I hang my hat on is making better young people. So I just want to hold them accountable for that. And again, when they're kids, they always gonna complain about everything. But
Right.
you know what I mean? But like you said, girls basketball, one of my former players, she texted me last night. She wants to get into coaching. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. You know what I mean? On my staff this year, I had two guys I coached before, back at Barry. Over a decade ago. So it's about building those relationships. And again, you're gonna be tough on them because you care about them. They get a little bit older. They realize that you did, and then you move forward. So those are the wins, man. Those are always the wins.
So transitioning into this position, Are you still as hard as you used to be, or have you softened up a little bit?
Nah, change. I ain't never. At this point, I am who I am. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You're older, you are who you are. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Nah, it's my style. You make small adjustments because this current generation sometimes can't
Right.
handle it. But sometimes I let the group, and that's why it's important to have, influence the group because then the group will influence them. You know what I mean? Find out who the influencers influence them. So sometimes I'll leave a kid alone so I can let the influencers influence them. Because they'll say, "Hey, man, coach ain't do. Hey, coach love you, dog. Come on." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let them do the dirty work, and I just kind of make sure I'm paying attention. So that's sometimes I can't do it, so I let my leaders do it.
Good deal.
So, Coach, you tapped in a little bit about this generation being a little different. So, would you say you're more of a coach-driven team or a player-driven team?
Man, getting kids to be a player-driven team is hard, man. Just and being truthful, we live in a transitional city here in Charlotte.
Right.
You got kids that will, and parents that sometimes can't do it. So I let my leaders do it. More favorable situations or programs. So with that, we got to embrace that, and we got to understand that sometimes our leadership is going to be our player-driven leadership is going to be a little sketchy because we have new bodies coming in, new bodies, bodies going out. So sometimes it lacks consistency. So I think it's got to be a 60-40, 50-50 balance where coaches still got to kind of lead the way. That's why like having good assistant coaches is like really, really important because they got to preach the message. Assistant coaches really are the superheroes of every team, right? Because when guys are upset, they calm them down. When guys aren't playing with confidence, they boost them up. Head coach, sometimes we don't get a chance to touch every kid. And that's what great assistants are. Touch every kid in the program and really keep that energy high. So, again, having good coach leadership mixed in with some good player leadership, I think is a great recipe for success. I'm currently looking at all you guys in front of me. Coach C was, Tony was over at Chambers, and again, that's what made Chambers special during that run. You know what I mean? Is that you got the staff that's got the kids riding sky freaking high. You know what I mean? Feel like they could play with anybody. And it's hard to beat teams like that. You know what I mean? But again, that was player led leadership because you had the James Pierce, the Kevin Concepcion, the Bubba Camp mixed in with Coach Ferb and Coach Tony and Coach Hawk and these guys. So again, when you have a balance like that, man, it's hard for anybody to beat you. You know what I mean? It's hard for anybody to beat you. So I'd rather have a balance rather than try to put it in the hands of 15, 16-year-olds.
Gotcha.
Hawk, what you got, Hawk?
Your mic's off.
That dude still got that
Sorry about your fellas.
You over there eating them potato chips?
Come on, dog.
Nah,
Turn
nah,
the
I
mic
got
up,
cold,
man.
bro.
You
Get rid
there
of that
crunching
jitterbug,
again. You back
man.
there crunching.
Put them chips down.
Nah, I got bad cold, fellas. I can barely talk.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you under the weather.
But I say this with Simmons. I love what you're doing down at Palisade. Cause I remember you got that tweet statement about championships or one with rough hands. I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
And you been at enough successful programs where you know the formula. So them kids buying into what you're saying. I think I can see Palisade being the next powerhouse in Charlotte. That's my personal opinion.
Wow.
Just from the
Hawk
outside looking
said
in.
it.
You gave him the powerhouse.
Hawk said it.
Oh yeah, he was a chamber. He was a hub. I mean, he was there. He know. Jim's a smart dude, man.
I tell you this: when you look at every team that had a run, right, going back to Indy, right, then transitioning to kind of Mallet Creek, Butler, and then Chambers, right. Every team has had an NFL player, right. Some kids, so we ain't got there yet. You know what I mean? If we get to a point where we start having NFL players coming through, then I think yeah. But we ain't got there yet. That
Don't
person.
you?
Simmons,
You
don't you
kind of
got
on the
Doodle
fast
down
track
there?
though, coach.
Say that one more time.
Don't you got
I
Doodle
said
down there?
you
Yeah,
seem to be on the fast track.
Yeah, he might be your one.
He might be. So that's what I'm saying. But you don't, like I said, they got to come through. You know what I mean? James
Right.
Pearson at Chambers now. You know what I mean? That's that. We talking about possible top 10 draft pick. DJ
Yeah.
Humphries was at Mallard Creek.
Free.
Yeah.
You had a multitude of guys at Butler.
Jordan Davis.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Jordan Davis, Humphries.
You had a
Yeah.
multitude of Butler guys that went and played the league. You know what I mean? So I think it's just synonymous. You had Hakeem Nicks and guys over at Independence back in the day. So I think that player, and again, that player, that player stands out easily on Friday. So
Yeah.
I think we got a couple who could be that, but they got to show up first.
Yeah.
So
We've noticed, man. It's usually I'm with Hawk, man. I think you can do it. But we've noticed in this area, every team usually get about a 4-year run. So if we mark off 2 for West Charlotte and 2 for Huff, that's about your time in 2 years, man.
yeah. I don't know.
Hey, the bigger question is how expensive are the apartments down there?
Well, I mean, Creek ain't no cheap area. You know what I mean?
Nah, it's not.
And it's not scenic to anything either. You know what I mean? That's sometimes what people discount is the fact that Huff, Chambers, Mallard Creek,
dollars.
They all within really about a 30-minute window of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, coming from all those successful programs you mentioned, Chambers, Huff, and just to name a couple, what are some of the similarities you see in your ball team that you saw in those championship programs?
Man, if anything, I'm trying to copycat the toughness, right? So I'm trying to copycat the toughness from Chambers, because again, that's mindset. You know what I mean? Like we playing them in 2021, and they down 2 touchdowns and they ain't quitting. You know what I mean? And that's why I kind of hate these video camera guys that come around because they catch you at your most vulnerable moments. So if you go look up at the film, I'm at halftime saying to the team in 2021, hey, they ain't finna quit, y'all. You better keep playing. And lo and behold, they never quit, and they came back and beat us So really trying to copycat the mental toughness and just the physicality of those Chambers teams that I was a part of. And then as far as Huff, man, the coaching acumen. They do such a great job coaching kids and really, putting together solid game plan. And again, they don't win every game. I know that sometimes the negativity or reservation they get is that they don't win the big game, but they damn sure do a great job winning every other game in between that. So the biggest thing is kind of marrying the two, right? Us being physically tough, wanting to beat people up and play hard even when we're down, and then on top of that, coaching the hell out those guys and really putting them in great positions to be successful. So if I had to steal anything, that'd be what I'm trying to steal from both programs.
Yeah. You mentioned the mental toughness. I'm a guy that's really big on like mental health. What are some of the things you do to kind of make sure your guys kind of keep themselves in check with their mental health? And if some of the things, signs you look for, you need to kind of pull a guy to the side and, have that conversation with him, make sure he's good.
Man, body language, man. So, because, body language, you can't really hide it. Then on top of that, I try to stay connected with parents just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Parents, listen, if you have a concern, let me know, because I can't fix a problem I don't know.
Right. I think it starts in the home.
Yeah. I mean, you got, just naturally, you got some families who sometimes, enable certain behaviors, especially from a mental health standpoint. Sometimes I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes we do need to tell kids, "Hey, man, it's all right, suck it up." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you need to hear them out as well. So I think sometimes it just depends on how the family enables certain things. Because, sometimes it's not really an issue, but kids just nowadays they can't problem solve or critically think themselves. So
Right.
allow these things to become big worse. My biggest thing has been, especially since when guys get injured, like we had about 5 kids have season-ending injuries, and for all of them, a mental health. We had mental health to kind of or speak about mental health because we just knew it was problematic with them not being able to play.
Right.
Really, it's just a case by case. We don't have like a set plan. My first 2 years, I had a young lady who I've known for years. She was a licensed therapist, and she would come and be a part of our staff um, on school days. She would come to the class, to weight training class. She'd be on the sideline just as a available resource for the guys to speak to. And some guys took advantage of it, and
Right.
I'm tremendously thankful because it kind of set up the opportunity for guys to understand this is a safe space. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
but I will also want you to be well mentally. So if you need to speak to her or you need to speak to me, don't be afraid to do so. So kind of again, she was able to help me create an open door that sometimes we talk about, but people don't really believe is there.
No, that's a real thing, man. I applaud you for that, coach. That's a lot of coaches overlook that aspect. Like you just said, suck it up. Well, some things you can't just suck up. So kudos to you, coach. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I want to talk about. I want to ask you about. You got your program up and running. You're winning. How do you keep that consistency? Do you get involved with the neighborhood programs that are around? Maybe the youth programs. How connected are you to the middle schools? Do you have a feeder program that feeds into Palisades? How often do you maybe even connect with those guys? Show your face, so those guys will be excited about coming to Palisades.
Yeah, man, I try to stay away from youth football. That is that is not for the weak, man. You go out there to the youth football game. You almost a college recruiter now. You got to wear your logo. You got to start talking about NIL and all. And so
I
try to
know
stay
it's crazy.
football. I think they do some tremendous things. Some really good players come out of some of those better youth programs. So I applaud them. I am very connected to our middle school program, our middle school feeder. I go over to their games. I try to learn about the kids or learn their names before they get to Palisades. Um, I make my face, I go to their middle school basketball games just so they could see me. And in that way, I'm a presence. I go over in the spring and I have a meeting with them in the spring at the school to kind of, start to prepare them for what they're going to get into. Just so the transition. The transition is usually the hardest. If they're really talented, it's easy, right? But if they're kind of marginal or they developmental, then now we got that's where we got to stress building relationships because they get discouraged so much easier because it's so many youth programs that they start everywhere. Every kid starts nowadays, right? It's not many
Right.
kids that go somewhere and have to sit and develop. Every kid gets a chance to start because if they don't make their middle school team, they play youth somewhere. So my biggest thing is kind of helping them by just kind of help embrace their mentality that hey, you're gonna come in, you're gonna work. You might not start at the beginning of the year, but we got an entire season, so just keep going. So just trying to do that.
Good deal. You got any openings?
We far. If you're gonna drive down there, come on. I ain't never took you down no help.
I know that's coach.
Yeah,
This
man.
so when have you guys started your winter workouts already?
Yeah, we started well, we a little bit last week, but definitely got back in the swing of it this week. Um, we try to get our guys lifted throughout the school day. It's a little bit easier on us, so we don't have too many bodies in the building after school, so they can focus on academics. So we try to just lift guys whenever we can. If we see them, we grab them, we lift them. So we have started. Yeah.
Awesome, man. It's that time of the year.
Yep. Yep.
Well, cool, man. Hey, we ain't gonna hold you, man. We appreciate you coming on the show, man. Once again, congratulations on
Thank
you being on the fast track to having one of the really solid programs around here, man. And good luck to your upcoming season. We appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate y'all, man. Keep doing what you guys do.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Appreciate you, coach.
All
Good
right,
Hey,
luck.
y'all.
Yes,
coach.
sir. Yeah, I'm finna get out too. It's call minutes and kicking in.
All
I'll y'all
right,
fellas later.
All
all right.
right, Hawk.
Hey, big up.
Go put them chips down, Hawk.
Hey man,
Hey,
that's
man.
yeah, y'all guys.
Listen, Book. Let me
Yo,
give you flowers, dog. Boy, you
boom.
killed that mic tonight. That boy, you killed that mic tonight, boy.
The
That
mic
that was that
sounds
was something.
nice. Check one.
Come on, bro. I got to give you flowers on that, dog. You did your thing on that mic tonight, bro.
What happened with the mic?
Man, you had to be there, boy.
Not
Okay.
Magic Mike, man. Nah, no.
Man, you
But
got
yeah,
DoorDash on the background. What you got going on, Tone?
I like that. That looks like projector TV right there. Is that
That's what
projector?
it is.
Yeah, hey, I know that boy. I look at that every day. I
Man, he look
love
like a
projectors.
gamer right now. He look like a streamer.
I love it. I love it. It's cool. I do it all the time. I got projector TV in my room. That's what I do. And my garage.
Hey, hey,
And
hey, hey.
it's everywhere. So I love it, man.
TMI.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, it's projector. It's just a TV. That's
Yeah, man,
all.
you making
TMI,
videos.
brother.
Making
Projector
videos.
TV.
Hey,
Huh?
man, let's hear.
I'm not releasing any kind of explicit stuff. So
Oh
Okay.
man, you said it.
That's not how it sounds, bro.
take it down a notch.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell y'all, man, Simmons a good coach, man.
Yeah, he seemed to got. Hey, you know what? He was rapid fire with them questions, man. I appreciate that. That's somebody. If he's that prepared on the fly, then
Oh
when he's
no,
got
he's
time,
he's
I'm sure he's really
intelligent,
locked
man.
in.
And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of those programs, he's one of those guys that, be it Chambers, Huff, he's one of those guys that contribute to the success of those programs.
Right,
But you wouldn't know unless you knew. You know what I
Right.
mean?
right.
Because I know when he took our guys, and I remember, Jordan, hell, Zion, working with those guys with the speed training,
Yeah.
and he wasn't even their coach; he was coaching against them, but
Right.
kind of doing the same thing that we did.
Right.
Actually just being a resource for those kids, and he's actually very good at it too. But that's why I asked him that question, man, because he don't take no shit.
Right.
Well, that's
Um,
No,
good.
you don't.
That's
he
what you
don't.
need.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
And
The guy has a pretty damn good pedigree about himself. He's
I
yeah,
would say
come
that.
from some programs that has that winning pedigree, and apparently, he's put a lot of those things in his toolbox,
yeah.
and he's absorbed some of that stuff and he injected himself with it. So he sounds ready.
No,
Um,
that's important to come from winning begets winning, losing begets losing. So, you can't expect a guy. You'd be a fool to hire a coach from a losing program to come in and change a program around.
It happens in pros in college all the
You
time.
can't, you can't do. How are you going to get somebody to buy into a losing
Right.
pedigree? You know what I'm saying? So you got to have that winner's mentality. You got to have the resume, and people are going to buy in. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough road. Unless
But
some
the
so
miracle
what do y'all
happens.
think? What do y'all
we
think
always
about the
talk
champ?
about, man, is establishing culture, and
Go ahead.
that's why I asked him that, man. It got to be hard to, because again, if you're a no nonsense coaches, where do you find that bend at? Because I mean, you got people that'll get out of there
Well,
instantly.
then
You
that's
know what
what
I mean?
you want them going, though, Tony. You want them going. You want those guys going.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be that type of coach, you got to be consistent,
Yeah.
right? You can't start cowering down to people because you're scared you might lose people. If you want to go, go. I'm glad you're leaving now.
But here's the thing with that: you're gonna have to have some patience.
Of course,
That means when I say patience, I'm speaking like a 5-year plan where you building a ninth grade class from the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean?
right.
And that's kind of how.
And your boy from West Charlotte said the same thing. He relied heavily on those ninth grade groups that came in, and he's got more coming. So you got to build a foundation, man, and
Yeah.
stick to your guns, man. You can't just keep jumping ship, changing philosophy. You got to believe in what you're doing, and once you believe, the kids are going to believe. Because kids, you can't fool them. If you don't really believe what you're preaching, they're not going to buy into it.
Honestly,
But
though,
but the
who
toughest part of
stays?
that is
Nobody
is
stays at these schools for 5 years, bro.
right. But the thing is, Key, with
Shit
the
ain't
winning, it's a lot to juggle, and that's why people always say head coach, head coach. I wouldn't want to be a head coach.
Nah,
I
me
would
either.
because you gotta, like you said, Philando, you gotta set the expectation, but you also gotta win.
Right. That's
So
the
you
key.
can't be this coach and then you don't win. It's like, man, I want to be here and take all that to be losing. But if you like a
Right.
Coach P from Mallard Creek and it's a no nonsense approach, but you're producing championships, or like, Ferb or Brand, then you can have that, a little leeway to be that way. But starting a new program, that's kind of tough, especially
Yeah.
like you said, when that school is out there and you don't have a whole lot to pull from when you're trying to
Yeah.
get kids wanting the option to come to the school.
Right. What do y'all think about the Captain Moreland? When in the eye of public opinion, when you hire these NFL guys, people automatically think, oh yeah, these guys are gonna win. These guys. What do y'all think about these? Because I don't know of any NFL guys that has transitioned from the NFL except for Teddy Bridgewater. I think he runs
Right.
state
Well,
camps or wherever it is.
hey, everybody's not Teddy Bridgewater.
And everybody's not a
Exactly.
coach.
So what
So
do y'all
I
think
think
about those
I
hires?
think that
Those coaching hires?
I think Captain is a good guy, man, and I think
He is.
that's kind of a change that um, you know Chambers probably needed to kind of get back to where they were. There was a brief slide there. I don't think there's an issue with talent. I really don't think it's an issue with or was an issue with coaching. I just think it's just that period that school is going through. All good programs go through that. I mean, you're gonna be a dynasty forever. But
Yeah.
I think those guys bring just because you play in the NFL don't mean you coach football.
No.
I've seen it a bunch of times. And
Right.
coached against NFL guys, coached with some NFL guys, and they know how to do what they know how to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't speak for everybody, but some people that's what it could be. But they also know the structure and the dedication and actually those areas that you really got to put emphasis on for the team to be successful and be productive. So I think that's something that he's probably going to bring. I mean, he has that high school experience from coaching over at Miles Park, I know. So I think it'll be a good fit for him. And he comes from the same type school that Chambers is. So, he'll be able to relate to those kids and what they're going through, because I don't think he's I was an NFL player type guy.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that doesn't work with those kids,
Nah.
Chambers kids. It don't. I did this, I did that. They don't care nothing about that.
No.
Those kids care about what can you do for me and how can we win.
Absolutely.
And I think he's one of the guys that probably be able to fit that bill.
I think just my opinion, why a lot of those guys don't make good coaches, because they have if you played at that level, right? If you played at the highest level, the 1% level, you're been that guy your whole life, right? You do things that 99% of the people that play the sport can't do. So it's I think some of these guys will have the expectation and don't understand why these kids don't get it or can't do certain things. Like, dude, you played in the league. You were one of the best in the country your whole life. And I think it's hard for them to understand and that why this kid can't do certain things that came easily to him. It's like Michael Jordan would be a horrible coach because he would understand. He wouldn't be able to understand why you can't do certain things that he can do in his sleep. But you're Michael Jordan.
I totally agree with
you.
you. But
I think but I mean, think about it. How many great Larry Bird is probably only one of the really great coaches that I can think of. I mean, there's a couple, but that were great players that end up being really good coaches as well.
Well, I think basketball and football is different because
no, I'm just saying any sport.
Yeah, but
they were the top of the top.
So, like for a captain, right? Captain's your height, so we're not going to make this.
What you trying to say, bro?
No, he's not a tall guy.
You act like you tall, bro. I think I'm taller than you.
But you definitely not taller than me. But okay,
no,
he's my.
Come on,
height.
I think I'm taller than you. You wear elevated shoes, bro.
You're not taller than me, man.
I don't wear.
Look, okay, look.
He wear heels?
My bad, Philando. He's my height, right? So one thing we do know, we all coach college kids and kids that play in the league. Those kids are not always the best players on their football team.
That's right.
Some of those kids get to a point where they grind and they work to get to where they are. So, he might be a guy coming out of high school at 5'8", 5'9", that didn't have any stars and had to go through that growing up and developing and maturing in this game. So, and I think he is that guy because I saw a little of the press conference. That was kind of the thing he spoke on. Like, I know what it is to say, okay, I'm going to do and get, maximize my individual potential.
Right.
So, but it's still I'm with you. Like, it don't mean you can coach.
That don't mean you can coach.
Just because you did play football don't mean you can coach. And just because you coaching don't mean you can coach either.
That's right.
Just because you got the job don't mean you can coach.
Hey, let me plug.
Step off. You know what?
Let me charge my phone.
We definitely about to find out.
We're about to find out.
I think it's gonna take some time though, man. I mean, that's about 2 year job to get it, 2 to 3 years to get it where it was or where you wanted to get to.
But do you think a lot of kids will migrate there because of it? Because he's who he is?
I think so. I also think that kids migrate because of opportunity and notoriety. So Chamber doesn't have to play in the playoffs. In those kids' mind from going to elementary to middle school is still Chambers. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
The same way West Charlotte always gets that talent every year when they had years that they wasn't, going deep in the playoffs. It's still West Charlotte. You know what I mean? And as you and we all know, they building so many damn houses and condos and apartments in the university area that they gonna get students. So
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's more Matthews.
Yeah, it's a matter of what they're gonna do with it, the talent that they get. But I like it, one thing Coach Simmons said that I think is very important is the people that you put around you, man.
There you go.
You gotta have some people that can relate to those people and get in there and make a difference. And that way you have that balance. It's just like parenting. I can't be the tough coach all the time, and I can't be the soft coach all the time. You gotta have some balance. Because like he said, man, and I know I've seen you do it, Coach. You gotta have that guy when the coach is chewing into a kid to tell him, man, come on, man, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna run this lap with you. Or I'm gonna take this last rep with you. That's what those kids need, and those are the guys who really don't get the credit that they need for being the glue to those programs.
I agree with that 100%.
100%, man. Hey, listen, man. Hey, I gotta go.
I know what that means.
We about to shut this thing down.
That man about to go get that projector out.
There you go. That's what I was thinking.
It's projector TV, man. It's just that's
you better go get it out.
You better go get that projector.
Hey, Booker, keep your hat on, man.
Yeah. You stupid. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all coming on the show, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate y'all coming on the show once again, man.
For sure, man.
And we're gonna get after it again next week, bro.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
1,000.